Good evening, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Entab presents CampusCare EdTalks, an exclusive platform where the stalwarts of education come on board uh, to express their. Ma'am, I think I'm so sorry. Bhavna, ma'am, Bhavna, ma'am, the YouTube. Have you switch on the YouTube channel? Bhavna, ma'am, the YouTube. Have you switch on the YouTube channel? Bhavna, ma'am, the YouTube. Have you switch on the YouTube channel? Bhavna, ma'am, the YouTube. Have you? Okay. I'm so sorry for the disturbance. It's an exclusive platform where the stalwarts of education come on board to express their viewpoints on burning topics, curbing the education fraternity. So, before I begin, let me quickly introduce NTAP to you. We are a 20-year-old IT company engaged in providing matured and futuristic school ERP, CRM, and mobile apps to various schools spread across India and help them transform from good schools to best schools. So, today in Campus Care Ed Talks, we will talk about the conservative educational system or the progressive educational approach. We all know that the conservative educational system exists and it is based on old fashioned ways of educating the students. And the progressive education approach, on the other hand, often promotes experimental ways to promote learning for students. So, the question is, what satisfy the need to learn for a student? Is it the conservation education system or the progressive one? So without further ado, let's get together and welcome our eminent guest speakers. So currently leading GP International School as a principal, ma'am has dedicated more than 20 years as an educator. She has contributed effortlessly to educate the students. Ma'am takes an initiative to counsel troubled minds. Over the long years, Ma'am has been recognized by various platforms for her effortless contribution towards the field of education. Please welcome Gurmeet Ma'am. Welcome to Campus Care EdTalks, Gurmeet Ma'am.
Thank you.
So, moving on, we have the director of Saint Kabir School, Hisar, Haryana. Ma'am is also the founder and book depot manager at the Delhi chapter of the Human Library. In her short career span, Ma'am has focused on inclusion in education, working with underprivileged children, setting up a pilot KPO run by visually impaired and teaching art to intellectually disabled children. She also trains teachers and school teachers on peace education and managing diversity in schools. Please welcome Neha Singh, ma'am. Welcome to Campus Care Ed Talks, Neha, ma'am.
Thank you so very much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am, for coming on board with us. Next, we have is ma'am in the field of education for more than 3 decades. She is the founder principal of Delhi Public School, and she has been recognized as a passionate teacher in the organization and has vision that has helped in the growth of students and the institution. For her, education does not mean providing answers to questions, but means equipping people. So she believes that every teacher and taught must grow up to be confident, morally sound, disciplined, and always eager to learn and relearn. So please welcome Bhavna Singh, ma'am. Welcome to Campus Care Ed Talks, ma'am. Ma'am, you're on mute.
Now, is it all right?
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
So, as we're starting our webinar now, I'll start with Bhavna, ma'am. Ma'am, educational system has seen various changes in past years, and the latest introduction of NEP promised to open new opportunities for students and promotes them to be future ready. So, do you think that NEP is a positive approach to a progressive educational system?
Of course, definitely. NEP
does have a very positive approach to a progressive education system where we are talking about core competency, collaborative learning, teaching, and then experiential learning. Emphasis is on skills and concepts, making the child equipped with academics as well as skill and making him ready to face the future. I definitely feel that the NEP has got a definite positive approach towards education now.
And Neha, ma'am, what are your thoughts on the same?
I definitely agree with what Bhavna ma'am is saying. It is definitely a positive step into the new times that we're facing right now. But also, it comes with its own sets of challenges. One very important challenge that is, in the NAP by default of it being just a document that does not have any legal backing. So
Right.
NAP in itself, like any policy document, is simply a guiding factor. It leaves actually a lot of room for people to improvise and twist whether to do it or not do it. That remains the first challenge in it. Other things definitely that are very good with NEP is that for the first time we're properly addressing the question of elementary education, the pre-primary education, the ECCE curriculum. This is something that we've brought into the ages of state education as a subject. That is for the first time a very, very good step there. We're also talking about inclusion of differently able children because I have had that background, but not in a very formal way. My work with them was mostly, as a volunteer. But it comes with its own set of challenges and the lack of schools that address that, number one, and also the lack of teachers, special educators in our mainstream schools. This is for the first time we're actually talking about it. I don't know going forward how much we're going to accomplish, but we've actually started talking about it. That's major, major plus when, from my end, I give a major thumbs up to NEP on those two aspects.
Of course, ma'am.
Right.
And Gurmeet, ma'am, what's your take on the same thing?
Yes, I do also agree with both of them that yes, at least we have started talking about it. It was really very much important to include it in the education system, and a lot of transformation in the education system was required. So at least we have started with the things and with a positive note. Let us see, and I strongly believe that we will definitely be able to, because challenges are always there with the new things. Acceptance is the challenge, as well as major challenges are that training of the teachers is required regarding this. Educators are not trained for this. First, the mindset has to be built. So I'm very happy with the things that it has started at least, and of course, it will have a very good impact. And the education system in India is definitely going to change.
So, ma'am, as we're talking about it, so as an educator yourself, what are the discrete skills a progressive educator must have, according to all three of you? Ma'am, Gurmeet, ma'am, you can start.
Yes. Actually, the first discrete skill which I feel is that the mindset to accept the new things. Because what happens is that we are not ready to accept the changes, and we are not ready to unlearn and relearn new things. So that is the first thing, that we need to accept that one and change our teaching methodology and everything accordingly. Apart from this, the technology, a teacher should be a technology savvy, because this is what is lacking in our educators. Educators are not is very much aligned with the technology, and they are not techno savvy. So that is very, very important. They need to be patient with the things. They need to be. They have to shift the teaching methodology from being a teacher, means giving knowledge, to being a mentor. That is very, very important required here, as well as it is also required to be a goal oriented education system. So these all things are to be incorporated, and the teachers need to be trained regarding these things. And another very important thing, what I feel is that actually the progressive education is actually a pedagogical movement, right? It is, we are talking about changing in the pedagogy of teaching. The teacher has to be equipped with the various styles of teaching over here. We need to respect diversity and diversity in ideas, not otherwise, in ideas also. And the teacher must be able to look at things from various angles, because it is just not the book and the teacher right now. It is like taking, collaborating, or we are taking into account about so many other aspects about the student, and we need to develop critical thinking in the child. The teacher must just not simplify things to make the journey very easy for this child. The journey should be a journey of experiences which will help the student to create and understand through the new experience. This is what all NEP is all about. And this the skills have to be cultivated. They have to be taught. We have to learn and relearn the way we were doing things. It's
Right.
all. I think this is what the teacher needs to be equipped with.
Hmm.
The to be able to relearn things, how it has to be done, because everything is changing, not only teaching, even the evaluation pattern is also changing. So, where the child has to be really taught how to apply his knowledge.
Right. And Neha, ma'am, what do you think about the same?
We talk a lot about what should be done for the
Hmm.
students. Being a teacher trainer myself, I've realized there is not much that we do for teachers. We majorly focus on their professional skills and skills that they can translate into the classroom. What we miss out on often is the emotional well-being, the social and emotional well-being of a teacher. And this is a very, very new subject that is coming in when people are talking about it. And the movement has started. We talk about mindfulness, we talk about social and emotional learning in teaching for teachers, not specifically for students, because that is what translates into the classrooms. You can create brilliant programs for teaching. You can revamp the entire B.Ed program, but you cannot teach a teacher to be effective, because that is not something that comes with the role of a teacher. It is something that you embody as a person. If you're effective in your general life, if your ma'am, like ma'am Gurmeet ma'am said, if your patience, teachers need to learn patience. That is not something that just teachers need to do. These virtues are something that you learn by the factor of being a human being. So I think that humane part of teacher is we're sort of falling short there. uh, and because we're talking about skills now, I think it also gives us an opportunity, a window to encash in on creating programs that enhance the skills of a teacher, not as a teacher but as a person. So social and emotional learning skills is one that I would highly, highly endorse. And there are programs around the world. There are uh, organizations like KSL working on it. There are organizations like Nonviolence Peace Project working on enhancing these skills in the teachers. I think that would very well complement in the modern classroom, because they are now moving towards a scenario where parents and all the other stakeholders are slowly taking a departure, and they have been doing for the last decade or so, from actual education that children are getting. So the onus lies on the teacher. I think there are the areas we can really work on.
I hope, ma'am,
I
soon
hope
we
so
will.
too.
And so, ma'am, as we're in the pandemic and we know and we've got to know the importance of technology. So, do you think that blackboard and brainstorming in the classroom environment were successful, or the computer screen full of information but a scaled down learning environment was? Is this successful?
See, in a classroom, the environment, the vibe that you're able to create by being there with 30,
Yeah.
20 odd students, it's entirely, to a different level. When you're sitting on a computer screen, The information exchange, yes, it happens. It may or may not amount to learning depending on how the student is oriented for that particular subject and teacher, and also how the home environment supports it. Because you are displaced from the environment that is by default created to impart learning. Because when you come to school, when a student comes to school, they also have that mindset that they're going to learn. They do their mischief and everything on the side, but that they're focused on the teacher, on the blackboard, etc. Having said that, yes, technology has its advantages, especially in the times that we're facing now. This is one of the first possible, global crisis that we've gone into. We don't know how many more we're yet to meet. So technology, yes, does serve as a very, very powerful medium to stay connected, but it does not replace classroom teaching. But then again, मैम
Yes,
ने कहा कि टेक्नोलॉजी से अभी होना बहुत जरूरी है. I completely connect with that, because the world is going technical. We're switching over to automating things
Right.
in our lives. So it has to be a blend.
yes,
It cannot be a
I agree.
standalone something. Ma'am.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Classrooms cannot be replaced.
Right.
That social skills, the human touch, and that life skills, the face-to-face contact between the teacher and the child, all that cannot be replaced by the virtual world. Learning through computer, in fact, I will say there's no discipline in it. See, the child can access to the material anytime, anywhere, any place. The teacher can also be teaching from anywhere. Information, as Neha said very rightly, that information can be exchanged, but not that environment cannot be created. See, even nature has the sun rises every morning, sets in the evening. There is a discipline to everything. So every children need to be guided. They need discipline in life also, not only as they learn, but also in their every day-to-day life. They need the classroom interaction is a must, because if a child is, there's so many other skills that the child does. Their life skills also. Supposing if he is being driven out of the classroom for some reason or the other, and the teacher has asked him to stay outside
Right.
for some time, and if the child sees the principal coming, starts thinking what he has to tell her or him, that what is the reason for him being outside the class. So these are certain small life skills also that the child learns in the journey of coming to school.
Yes, ma'am, agree. Then when the principal is coming and taking a round, we have to make an excuse. And yeah. And ma'am,
All this matters.
yeah,
It teaches you to be street smart. The principal's approaching teacher ko to given you have a different equation with the teacher, but when the
yeah.
principal comes on around, it just whacks out all the air you have in your lungs. You just have to be street smart. Come up with something that is going to get you out of trouble.
Of course, ma'am, and I think that when you're in a virtual classroom, and if the teacher is saying that your detention is, I'm removing you from this thing from virtual class, then the student will go play a game, I guess, and I think over there is no principal taking around.
Yes, even one more thing. I would like to add one more thing in this,
Yes,
that
yes,
is even
Gurmeet.
the parents are not ready for this.
Yeah.
So the monitoring of the parents and other things which are required, very much required in these virtual classes for the students, that is not there. So it becomes at times difficult to control that one and to conduct the classes as well as to impart the education. That is also, it becomes a little difficult
Hmm.
because we were not ready for this situation. Neither the
Right.
teachers were ready, nor the parents. So that is also one point. And another thing is, in this, the teacher is so connected with the child
Hmm.
that at times the teacher can read the heart of the child. What he is, what mischief he is going to do next, what is the classroom situation. It's just because the teacher and the student connection is so much, like for 5 to 6 hours that they are there together in the class, that they can understand each other very well. Even the screen time of the students has also increased, and we cannot use that much of the screen time as for 5 to 6 to 6.5 hours. We're having the schooling time that cannot be. So that is also a major constraint in this.
Right, ma'am.
Right.
And ma'am, as we're talking about technology, so with the introduction of advanced technology in the educational system, do you think that the quality of teaching learning material has improved? Gurmeet, ma'am.
Yes, yes, the quality of teaching learning. I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question again?
Yeah, of course, ma'am. Ma'am, I was saying that as we're talking about technology, so there, with the introduction of advanced technology, do you think the quality of teaching learning material has improved?
Yes, obviously, the teaching learning means material has definitely improved. That is there, but whether it is reaching in the right way to the students or not, that is a major thing to be taken care of. Because what material and in the way it is being delivered to the students, that is also to be taken into consideration.
And Neha, ma'am, what do you think about this thing?
Uh, I do not completely agree with this. Probably the dissemination has improved. Probably reaching out to more number of people has improved. Probably the speed of exchange has improved, but quality of material I don't think has improved that much because of the sheer volume that is available these days on click of your mouse and your trackpads. uh, and there's some like Wikipedia, we most of the people they go to Wikipedia to look for things,
Right.
and it is a mass edited platform. There is
Right.
no quality check as such. So quality of material available online is very questionable. It is very difficult to determine, especially for somebody who's a student or even a teacher who's pressed for time to determine if the material that he or she is taking down from the www. There's no way to determine that unless you are very well versed in the universe of the internet.
Right.
So that again is questionable for me. I mean, I really can't think of a mechanism that can guarantee quality.
And coming to Bhavna, ma'am, ma'am, what do you think about this thing?
No, I definitely feel that if you require some material or any study material, I think going to the through the Google or something, that's just you get a lot of things to learn about. Even like in fact, students and teachers now no longer need to waste time on in the library or looking for things or waiting for circulars. It's a very fast mode of getting a lot of information immediately, and students and teachers can definitely prepare themselves for every question.
And
And it depends. When there is a good teacher with that child, then the teacher can always tell the student that, see, this is where you need to filter it. This is what you do not need to understand, or this is not. We can do away with this. So that's it. So the teachers has to accompany the child, and whether they are talking about, if we are talking about technology, then definitely technology has improved the study material. Like we are getting a lot of things to study. There are a lot of approaches which we can access through the internet, give it to the children also.
And ma'am, according to you, what is the specific training that allows teachers to create a more learning and child-centric experience?
Specific training. See, if you will talk about training, I don't think it is any training is required for any teacher who has decided to become a teacher.
Right.
When they're with a proper mindset, when we can understand this child's needs, when we can understand what his requirement is, when we can understand how to approach that requirement, I think the teacher has to just keep on thinking about the child, become absolutely when we there are the multiple intelligences. When we talk about, if the child is not able to understand one way, then the teacher can definitely take the other way of teaching the child. So I do not think as such that any training or any skill development is required. It is only the teacher's own approach that is very important, the teacher's own mindset.
And Gurmeet ma'am, what do you think?
Yeah, I think a little bit of training is required regarding the new things which are coming up, like the stress management training or this time management training. These are the basic trainings which are to be given to the teachers. This is what I feel.
Okay, okay, and coming to Neha ma'am.
Uh, Training is definitely required. If my understanding of training is that it gives you tools to deliver whatever it is that you are seeking to put across in the classroom. More so now, because the teachers of today have been students of yesterday, and we already consider that an age old approach. So, what and how they've learned then may or may not be applicable in the same manner as today. The challenges of this millennia are very different. The children, the millennials, they're a different breed.
Yeah.
They understand things in a different way. They have technology on their fingertips. And I often find that a lot of teachers are compromised in their understanding of way the technology works. So everything that goes on internet, this is in this year, the year of lockdown, when teachers have actually taken to technology, whether begrudgingly or happily, has been a very personal choice for all the teachers. But training specifically now, dealing with the newer challenges, dealing with the pace of the world that it is moving ahead with, crisis like corona and the entire understanding of how the world works now is on a different level. We have people like Elon Musk who are planning space travels, and they're planning to colonize the planets and the moons. So
Right.
to bridge that gap, to give out to the world students that are wired in a way that thinks for a future like that, I think training really, really comes in handy. I'm not talking about subject material, I'm talking about how to deliver and how to enable that critical thinking, how to enable the skills that are needed right now. Teachers really do need a support.
Okay, ma'am. I think it depends. And ma'am, as we've Gurmeet ma'am, this is for you. As we've discussed so far a lot about traditional system and newly adopted approach. So, as an educator yourself, what is the best educational approach for our young scholars?
Yeah, the best educational scope is that the progressive teaching style of teaching is the best one, because it equips us with the life skills that we have to have for the journey in life. If we want to be fit in the journey in life, that is highly required. So this approach helps us to nurture our children in that way, so that they are able to take care of themselves, as well as they are becoming a good human beings, as well as they are a good resource to the entire country. So the progressive way of teaching is really very, very good.
And coming to Neha ma'am, what do you think?
I think there needs to be a blend. We need to allow the teachers to have a certain level of flexibility when it comes to classrooms. We need to be little less stringent on what needs to be done in a classroom. We need to probably set up goals for them, but how they're going to do it can be a teacher's prerogative. We do not need to bind them into an annual system where we're taking an X number of tests and a full length exam at the end of the year. But we have been talking about cumulative assessment that happens all through the year. But for that, a teacher also needs to set his or her own classroom environment in a way to enable those things, because there are a lot of moving parts in here. Every child, the brain, how the brain works, and every mindset that you bring to the classroom is going to be different. So there cannot be any one approach to things. With one student, it might work in a certain way. With another, it might work in an entirely different way. So I think as a system, we do not need to designate an approach for teachers to follow, but there can be various methods that can be suggested. So maybe we could do a teacher's evaluation on a regular basis and help them understand what are the things they can bring into it. So not evaluating teachers as to how much do they know, but evaluating where all their gaps are, helping them to fill them up. So
Right,
being
ma'am.
flexible systematically in the system is what I would say is important.
Right, ma'am. And Bhavna, ma'am, what do you think?
Yeah, of course, education actually, uh, when we talk about education and the student coming to the school, education means creating happiness. So, in this progressive way of teaching, also, we do create very happy moments when the children are together, when they have this peer learning. And of course, we cannot do away with the traditional system of teaching at the same time. Like, just get over it and come to the progressive. That cannot be done, also. So, progressive teaching, as Gurmeet and Neha has very rightly said, that we need these that progressive education, of course, is really, it is an endeavor that will definitely change the scene of tomorrow, and teachers and students will also learn and relearn things in the journey.
Right, ma'am, definitely. And as we are closing the webinar, ma'am, there is one query that we receive from parents very, very often, and they're like, what are the parameters that they can select a good school for their students? So, what do you think, Neha, ma'am? What are the parameters for the same?
Uh, Actually, most of the schools do not allow for that kind of flexibility. But few things that you can look at is uh, if you're in a small city specifically like ours, uh, I would say you can probably go around and talk to the parents and students who've been alumni of the school. That would really help, because see, the goals of education today have changed, and there was this research by Angela Duckworth. There's also a TED talk on it. She says children with grit are the ones who succeed in life, are the ones who accomplish the most. Let me burst a bubble. No school can teach you that, but there can definitely be factors that a school may have that provide an environment for a child to develop grit and other skills. So probably go talk around. Board exams is considered again to be a very traditional parameter to the results that are given. But if I look at it not as a school owner, not as a teacher, not from that perspective, but as a perspective of maybe a parent or a guardian, I would say, for my own understanding, I would probably go and talk to the product,
Right.
right? So the users of the product, so alumna and their parents, that would be the most important parameter as far as I'm concerned.
Like, wonderfully said, ma'am. Wonderfully said. And coming to Gurmeet, ma'am, what do you think about the parameters?
Yes, I do agree with Neha. She has said rightly. She has said, because whenever a parent walks into the campus, they can see only the physical structure, but infrastructure they can see, but they cannot see the teaching which is being imparted. That comes only with the board results, as well as the children who are passing out, and the other parents and children. As she has said, I totally agree with her.
And Bhavna, ma'am,
Yeah, I feel that the school that imparts holistic education, that is able to cater to the needs of the fast developing society, where an individual has got where the individual's social, emotional, academic skills are taken care of, physical fitness, everything, and is made ready for the future. I think that is the school that is doing its best. That is the school where one should be looking for.
Um, okay, I think Bhavna ma'am,
Her
uh,
screen
yeah,
froze,
her
I think.
screen is
Yeah.
stuck. I
Yeah.
think she's stuck. So I think she was done. She's just saying about all that you both of you have mentioned. And thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, Neha ma'am, Bhavna ma'am, and Gurmeet ma'am, for giving us your valuable time today and providing with all the insights. And thank you so much to all the viewers for joining in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and stay safe. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.